Hi, today I'm going to show you how to make some beads, felted beads, and the directions can be found in this book. It's called Bead Making Lab and it's by Heather Powers. And in this book are just some really great ideas for making your own beads. And it's a really good idea if you make your own jewelry, because this will really step up your game as far as making your own really highly unique jewelry. The felted beads that I have made, some examples are right here. And as you can see, you can make a lot of different colors, just depends on what color of felt that you are using. Also, to make a hole in the bead, you will need a very large, sharp, the book recommends a darning needle, but I used a large upholstery needle, and it's very easy to make a hole in the beads. I definitely recommend you play around with it a little bit, and because you never know how the colors are going to turn out, because if you mix colors you will definitely get this a mottled mixed look. Once again, your yarn has to be 100% wool. So when you purchase your yarn, you're going to look for the label. The label will tell you that it is 100% pure wool. I was lucky enough to get some leftover yarn from someone who does weaving. The other things you're going to need besides the wool yarn, you are going to need a clear and fragrance-free dish soap. So clear and fragrance-free, that's going to be the best kind. You're going to need some vinegar, just a small amount, and you're going to put the vinegar in some water, and that will be just to rinse out your beads and clean your bead when you're done. So I just put a little bit of vinegar in here, and I'm going to dunk the beads in here when I am done. Now the book recommends that you use hot tap water, but for this case, for this purposes, I'm just going to use plain tap water. The hot tap water will make the process go faster, and this is something that you can do over your sink. But if you, in this case, since I don't have a sink here, I'm just going to use the hot tap water, and then I'm just going to use this large plastic takeout tray. So the directions say that you want to start off with 32 pieces of yarn. So you're going to need to cut your 32 2-inch pieces of yarn. So go ahead and cut your 32-inch pieces of yarn, and then when I'm done with that, I'll show you the next step. Okay, so now I have, in this case I'm going to do two colors. So I have 22 pieces of this pretty red coral color, and then I have about 10 pieces of this beautiful yellow goldenrod color. Now one thing that you can see is that there's a difference between these two different kinds of yarn. This yarn has a ply to it, and a ply meaning that you can see there are two pieces that are twisted together, and as I pull it apart you can see that, oh, actually three. Okay, so this is 3 pieces of yarn. I said there was 2, there's 3 that are twisted together. So what you want to do as part of this process is you want to pull apart. Now can you see it's almost like 3 individual strands of the yarn? You want to pull apart all of those 2-inch pieces of yarn until they look something like this. And then you're going to start making what is called like an asterisk shape. Now for this kind of yarn, what I recommend doing is just sort of pulling it apart the best you can, and this will really help with that felting process. Now in this case, as you can see, now I'm going to start that asterisk. So since I pulled these pieces of this coral red yarn into 3, I'm going to see if I can basically do the same thing with this yellow. And now you're going to start making your asterisk shape as you pull apart your pieces of yarn. You're just going to keep laying them over, or you could call it a snowflake or an asterisk shape, and just keep going and going and layering until you get all of your 32 pieces, both your red and your yellow or whatever colors you are using, until you get them all in that asterisk shape. And just keep going and make sure you just keep layering this way, and you sort of want to have your ends going in almost every direction. So just don't keep it just like an asterisk, just keep going and layering, and just keep layering it over each other. Now, it might be a little bit difficult. It might kind of want to jump away because the fibers are starting to stand out now. They're going to start pushing other fibers away, but that's fine. That's not a big deal. It doesn't have to be the absolute most perfect looking asterisk or snowflake. You just want to keep going like this and layering and layering and layering over. Okay, so now I've finished, and this is what I have. I have this lovely little poof ball. So next what you're going to do is you are going to, it's probably easier, in fact it is easier to work under a sink, but since I don't have a sink here at my little table, and for YouTube purposes, I'm just going to show you how to make this without a sink. So the first thing you want to do, once you've got your lovely little poof ball asterisk shape, oops, well, you want to put a tiny little amount of soap. Now I'm going to tell you that's probably a little bit too much soap. You just need 1 drop of soap. And then you can add just a little bit of water to that. And then what you're going to start doing is you're going to start rolling it up in your hands. Now the first thing that's going to happen is you're going to get a soapy mess, a soapy ball, soapy mess, but you're just going to have to keep working at it and try to get some friction in there with your hands. Now the natural cup of your hands will start making that shape into a ball shape. And once you've rubbed it for a while, it's going to get a little dried out, which is fine. All you're going to do is add a little bit more water into there, and you're just going to keep going. And like I said, probably works better to do it over a sink. Maybe still have a cup of water or next to you, or the water just running on very low so you don't waste a lot of water. As you can see, again, I've got a lot of bubbles here. That's not a problem. Just keep rubbing and rubbing and really get some friction in there and really get some good action as far as that, you know, like a detergent action with everything going around. It's a little bit of a workout, I won't lie, especially because you're going to start pushing your hands really closely together, and it will be a workout. Now at one point you can start seeing it's really coming together as a ball, and it's really starting to form. Now still have a lot of soap. That's okay. I can kind of rinse a little bit of that soap off and just keep going. You're going to need the water and the soap for this process to work. Soap more in the beginning. That's just going to help you create a little bit of that friction process, but not so much soap at the end. As you can see, it is really starting to come together, and all I'm doing is just really, you know, if you like when you played with clay when you're younger in school, or you know, anytime you might have worked with Play-Doh or any kind of clay, it's really just about using that section of your hand, that cup in your hand, and using those 2 cups in your hand and just rolling it and rolling it and rolling it until you get the shape that you like. It does not have to be a perfect circle. You can probably make some oval shapes, or maybe even like a long sort of tube shape. But as you can see, that's looking really nice. In fact, that bead, I would consider that to be pretty well done. It looks pretty nice and shapely. I can keep still shaping it up a little bit in my hands if I want, making it into a more symmetrical ball. I used the 2 colors. I used the yellow color, and then I used the red, and it gave me a nice little pretty variegated color. I did not use hot tap water. This is definitely a child-friendly project, so you can just use regular room temperature, cold tap water. Room temperature probably be a little bit better, or even just slightly warm. All that is going to do is just make the process go a little bit faster, but not that much faster. And as you can see, that's looking like a pretty nice shaped sphere. You're going to see the, like, you know, the little fuzzies and little hairs coming off it, but that's the charm of a felted bead. And then when you're done with that, you're just going to take your vinegar water, plop it in there and swish it around and let it soak for a little bit. Then you can take it out and dry it, and that's it. I hope you enjoyed making a felted bead with me today. Thank you.